Hi guys, and welcome to the last video of the year. I cannot believe that another year has passed. It has gone so fast. But yeah, before I begin, I just wanted to wish everyone Merry Christmas to anyone celebrating, and obviously Happy New Year. And yeah, so as usual, I'm just gonna do the brand reviews of all the puzzles, well, all the brands that I've done in 2024. And this year I have definitely, surpassed, I'm not gonna say all expectations because I really didn't have any expectations, but I beat all of my previous records. I've tried the most new brands. I've done the most puzzles in a year. So I have surpassed 100 puzzles this year, and I have not done that last year. So, I'm getting better every year. Okay, before I give you the puzzle brand review, I just wanted to give you a quick trip update because my boyfriend took me to Graz for a couple of days just to have the Christmas market. They didn't have one large Christmas market, but in almost every part of the city they had like a mini market. So I think in total we found like 11 markets, and that was really nice because it's completely different to anything that I expected. I do have to say that it was a little bit more difficult to find food than I expected. They had a lot of mulled wine and other Christmas drinks, but it was not that easy to find some food. They were also selling a lot of handcrafts, which I always love to see in the Christmas market. So it was such a blast to walk around. It definitely was magical and completely different to anything I've experienced in Slovenia so far. The next day we went up to the castle and it was huge. When we were at the top, there was just so much more walking to do. Also something that I'm not used to because in Ljubljana, the castle that we have is quite small. And with this one, I almost got lost because I didn't know where to go. There were so many options. I really like the view though. I do have to say that it's very similar to Slovenia. Well, we were under Austria, to be fair, for a very long time. So the buildings, when you look from the top, they do look very similar to Slovenian view when you go to Ljubljana Castle. So it was a really nice day. We had lovely weather as well, even though the wind was quite cold. But it was just such a beautiful day to be outside. But anyway, yeah, puzzle brand reviews. So this time I'm gonna add a little something in there because there are some brands that, it's really difficult to compare them to regular puzzles because they're so different. So I decided I'm gonna start the video off with different material brands. Can I say that? Oh my god, I haven't really thought about how I'm gonna name that yet, but yeah. So different materials, let's start with that. The first brand on the list is gonna be Rabbit 3D, which are basically the Harry Potter Diagon Alley collections we did as a Battle of the YouTube Puzzlers puzzle along, and also the Hogwarts collection that I have at home. So they're like foam-based puzzles and they're so fun to put together. You just put them together 2D and then you have instructions on how to put it into 3D. So what I really like about the brand is that it's not numbered. The other 3D puzzle that I done from Ravensburger was numbered at the back. So you basically were supposed to just follow the numbers as opposed to follow the picture. But with this one, you don't have that. So it's more of a true 3D puzzle assembly. And obviously, like I mentioned, it's not a cardboard puzzle, so it's really difficult to compare it to other brands. I've got no other foam puzzle that I've done, so I have nothing to compare it to, but I can say it's a great brand. The next puzzle brand is called Lamunda and it's a wooden puzzle. It was the one that I received as a gift from Alfonso last year. I've already assembled it and it's really good. I've done quite a few wooden puzzles. This one was the only one. Wow, the only wooden puzzle this year, I didn't realize. Since I started speed puzzling, I mostly focus on doing just normal cardboard puzzles, so yeah, I guess. I'm lacking on the wooden section. I remember last year I did quite a lot of wooden puzzles, but this year apparently this is the only one. All I can say is it's a very good brand. I really like how it's done. So again, I don't have other brands to compare it to this year. But among all other brands I've done so far, wooden brands, this one is, they're all good. I have nothing to say against any of them. And the last brand with a different material is gonna be Peaceful Leg by Pintu. And that's actually plastic puzzles. I absolutely love them. As you can see, I've got the advent calendar in the back, so that's from them. And there's the other one that I've done as well for the video. So yeah, I haven't done that many of their stuff. I haven't done any proper, 1,000 piece puzzle. But I think I still managed to get a taste of the quality just from the ones that I've done. Now, let's move on to the bad brands. This one is always the worst because I don't like saying bad things about brands or something, but I like to be honest, you know, for you. So if you watch this video, you know which brands to avoid, or you know at least what to expect, even if you don't avoid the brands. So there's not gonna be many brands on this list, it's just 2. And one of them is really, well, I wouldn't really say that either of them is like a puzzle brand. So, you know, I think that shows in the quality. So the first puzzle brand I'm gonna mention is Wow Games. And this is the Pringles puzzle I've done. It's like just the mini series. I don't know what other things they do, but based on the fact that it's called Wow Games and not Wow Puzzles, I would assume that they focus more on other things and this is just something they did on the side. So the thing is the pieces were very thin. They were very like easily breakable, let's just put it that way. Otherwise, you know, quite easy to assemble, so I didn't really have anything to do. Like, I'm not gonna say I had any misfits, but at the end of the day it was a 50-piece puzzle, so you know, it's a bit difficult to get a misfit there. And the second puzzle brand that I'm gonna put on the bad brands list is Mattel. I think they're the ones that do Barbies, I think. So I've just done one of their puzzles. I found it in a charity shop. The only reason why I took it is because I thought it's quite cool. It had like half of the side was for kids, so it had the bigger pieces, and then the other half was like for adults, for parents to, you know, puzzle together with them, and it had smaller pieces. And it was Harry Potter, and it also had Magic Defier, I think it was called. I'm not completely sure. So this is the puzzle that I gave away to Alejandro because he did comment on my post and he said, you know, he used to do those puzzles as a kid. And funnily enough, this was the one that he couldn't find in Spain, so he was really happy when he got it. But yeah, beside the points, let's talk about the quality. So the reason why I didn't like this puzzle is because it was really difficult to stay together. So sometimes it was even a point when I would put a piece in and like, I don't know, it was the wrong piece, it didn't fit in properly. I tried to pull it out and I would just take few other puzzles with me, or like I just tried to move the puzzle on the board and it would just crumble. So I wouldn't say that the quality is necessarily like really bad. Like, I remember that one playtime puzzle, the puzzle that I assembled together wrong because the quality was so bad that there was no way of knowing what actually goes together. So yeah, this puzzle was definitely not like that, but I think it's just, since I started to puzzle more, I became more picky about the puzzles I do, and I think it became a bit easier for me to be a bit more strict with what good quality puzzle is, if that makes sense. So I think 2 years ago this puzzle would probably end up on the good list, but not today. Anyway, done with the bad brands. Let's move on to the alright brands. So the brands that normally end up on this list are the ones that don't have anything magnificent about them, if that makes sense. So it's like they're completely fine to assemble, they're not gonna cause you much trouble, the quality is pretty much, you know, up to standard, but they're just not anything special, if that makes sense. So the first one on the list is called Puzzly Puzzly, and it's a Slovenian brand. And the reason why it's ended up here is because it's handmade. So it's really difficult for that puzzle to compare to any other brands that are done in the factory because, you know, the quality is completely different. Like I said, it's handmade, so they, you know, print the pictures, glue them onto the cardboard, you know, press them themselves. So from that sense, I need to be objective. So if this puzzle was done in a factory with the quality it is, it would end up on the bad brands list. But because I know it's handmade, it's different because you cannot achieve the same quality, you know, if the puzzle is done handmade. But I have to say it was the only handmade puzzle I've ever assembled and I've really enjoyed it. I had a few misfits, but it didn't really bother me that much. So the next 3 brands I'm just gonna have to throw in together, I guess, because they're all mini puzzles. So it's really difficult to say what, you know, the quality of bigger puzzle would be because I just done the small versions. I don't even know if they do the bigger versions, to be completely honest with you, but it's really hard to judge a company based on one teeny tiny puzzle. So the puzzles on the list now are Curiosity, Recent Toys, and At the Top. So with Curiosity, the puzzles are quite expensive. You can get them in Slovenia, they're quite pricey. But I got it as a gift and I was like, okay, why not? I'm gonna put it together. I have to say that based on the price, I was disappointed with the puzzle. Like, it was fun because it had all random shapes and everything, but it's just, like, in all honesty, I wouldn't go to the shop, pay the price to get this puzzle. Just not worth it. The next one is from Recent Toys, the hot dog puzzle I've done. I got that from Carolina as a gift. Really enjoyed it. The fact that it was a small puzzle, the quality was actually quite good, but there was just some places where I had misfit. It was all ribbon grit cut pieces and some of the pieces were still stuck together, but overall I quite enjoyed it. And then the last one at the top, that's from Burj Khalifa. I never know how to say that, but yeah, I got them as a gift as well, and they were actually, again, really good quality. It's just really difficult to judge a puzzle brand based on a mini puzzle. That's why I just decided I'm gonna put all three here. They were fine, I enjoyed putting them together. There's not really much I can say about it, but now I just wanna leave them behind and just move on to the proper puzzle brands, if that makes sense. So the next puzzle brand is Dodo Socks. I got that puzzle exchange with Carolina as well. And Dodo Socks, I don't think they normally do puzzles, so I was a bit intrigued how the quality is gonna be. But I have to say, I didn't have any misfits. They had a lot of variety of pieces and shapes. That was completely fine. The colors were great. I think the quality of the puzzle itself is just the way it was printed on the cardboard is just not up to my standards, I guess. No, but overall I still very much enjoyed the puzzle. The next puzzle brand is Mud Puppy. I had borrowed that puzzle from there's a lot of puzzles from Carolina. Yeah, so I assembled it again. I think that one only had like ribbon grit cut pieces, but the shapes were so specific, it was really easy to know what goes where, so I didn't have any misfits. But the same thing as with Dodo Socks is the way it's printed on the cardboard. It's just that, it's just a different type of quality. The next puzzle brand is Lawrence King, and that's the Sherlock Holmes puzzle that I've done. Now, that was quite a while ago, but I remember things that bothered me. So yeah, again, all ribbon grit cut pieces, and that wasn't actually the main issue because I still quite enjoyed the puzzle because you had a lot of people in there, so it was easy to know which direction the pieces were turned, well, for some of them anyway. But what bothered me is that the colors were so off that sometimes I would have a piece, I would try to find it on the box and I just couldn't because the color was so, like everything on the box was red, everything in the puzzle was orange. Like it was so different, it was insane. I've never seen that much of a difference in the color mismatch between the box and the puzzle, never. Like I know that with some puzzles, I think Ravensburger and Blue Kazoo, I think it appeared that the box has lighter color than the actual finished puzzle, but this was like completely different color. It wasn't just darker, brighter, it was like completely different color. The next one on the list is Egica, you know. You know why. I've spoken about it many times, but I like the quality of the puzzle. It's just that pieces drive me insane. So all ribbon grit cut pieces, which again is not the problem, like I said with Mud Puppy. It was so easy to know what goes where, but with Egica, they all look the same. Like they all have it like curved in one direction, and then you have the pieces that don't even stay together. So, you know, Egica has been my, well, I don't know what the right word would be, frenemy or nemesis. I think they're completely different, but I don't really know what the difference between the two words are. But yeah, I keep getting Egica puzzles for some reason. I keep trying them. I keep hoping that it's gonna get better, but it just never does. And then, you know, to be fair, the Bubbles one that I did was quite easy because the image was so easy that I wasn't bothered by the cut. But last year when I had more difficult puzzles, the cut nearly killed me. The next puzzle brand is called Art Puzzle, and there's just the one puzzle I've done. It was the Michael Jackson one, and I don't really remember much about it, but I just remember it was quite easy for me to assemble. I didn't really struggle that much with it. The brand itself, I don't think it had anything special that would make me think like, oh, that's a really good brand, you know. It was just like, yeah, okay. It was a fun assembly, enjoyable, and that's about it. And the last one on this list is Peasley Puzzles. That's the one we did as a pair for Euro Jigsaw Jam. I don't remember which number it was quite a while ago, and it was just one of the things where the puzzle was quite dark, but I do remember we had misfits. Other than misfits, I think that the brand was actually quite good, but if I remember correctly, we were quite annoyed with how many we had. Now let's move on to the good part. Okay, good brands, yay, finally. I love when we get into the good section. There's quite a lot of brands in there. I did not like when I was writing the script, well, the list of the brands for this video, I was like, oh, I barely tried any new brands this year because, you know. And then I started writing the list and I'm like, really? That many puzzles? I did not expect that at all. So there's a lot of new puzzles on the list this year. So let's move on to the first puzzle on Good Brand list, which is actually the one that I've already done. It was already reviewed in previous years. It's Treffle. And the reason why it's on Good Brands is I really like the variety of images they have. I really like the prints on the puzzles. The one thing I would say is with the cut is quite... you're gonna see when I do the comparison with the pieces, but it's got quite sharp edges, if that makes sense. So that's the one thing that I would say is like not as enjoyable as, you know, some other puzzles. But based on the price, you know, how I said with Curiosity, I would never go to the shop and buy the puzzle because it's just not worth it. With Treffle, I think Treffle, out of all puzzle brands that I've tried so far, I would say is the best price to quality ratio. I know that the quality is a bit worse, but the price is so much cheaper that it's not comparable to other brands. Because yeah, the quality is better, but the price is also tripled. So, you know, would you buy those puzzles? I think if you really like to puzzle a lot, and okay, if money is not an issue, obviously get whatever you want. But if you don't want to spend too much money on the puzzles, Treffle is definitely the way to go. It's like, you can get like a 3K puzzle for, I don't know, 16 euros in Slovenia or something like that. 18, I think. It's insane. Like, you get 500-piece Ravensburger puzzle for 15 euros, so, you know. Anyway, the next brand is called Libelut, and that's the Dixit puzzles we've been doing for the competitions in Slovenia. So I've basically done all of their 500-piece puzzles and I think half of the 1,000-piece puzzles. So again, I really like the images because obviously they're illustrations, so they're very easy and enjoyable to assemble, you know, but again, mostly ribbon grit cut pieces. So that does make it a little bit less enjoyable. But overall, I quite like the puzzle brand. The next one is High Puzzle, which is the puzzle that I've already reviewed in the previous years. I've done quite a few of their puzzles. And again, they're still staying in Good Brands. I like their images. I like the quality. It's just, again, majority ribbon grit cut pieces, which for me, if it only has ribbon grit cut pieces, well, or majority of the pieces are ribbon grit cut, they're just never gonna make the great brands list. Up next is Castellant. I've only done one of their puzzles. It was the 4K puzzle that I did in 3 bags of 1,300 pieces. So what I really like about the brand is that the pieces are smaller, so it's a lot easier for you to fit it on the table. And also the puzzle comes packed in smaller bags, which allows people who like space to assemble bigger puzzles. Like even the 2,000-piece puzzle comes in 2 bags of 1,000 pieces. So it's just one of the brands which again is also very affordable. That's one thing. The pieces are smaller, so it's easier to fit it anywhere. And it comes in multiple bags. So for people who like to do bigger puzzles but don't have the space for it, this is ideal. So again, a really good brand. Even though I've only done one puzzle, my experience was absolutely amazing. The next brand is Book People, and that's the crossword puzzle I've done. I found this puzzle in a charity shop in England and the quality was really good. I've got nothing to say that, but the cut was like really random. I think I would say comparable to majority of the American puzzle brands that I've tried so far. So it's like Springbok and stuff. It's like all random. I don't even know how they're called. So there's a debate on the ribbon grit cut piece because every time I say, oh, it only has ribbon grit cut pieces, I think it's not that common in Europe. I think because probably we don't really have random cuts. But some people commented under my videos that ribbon grit cut puzzle apparently means that the puzzle is cut in a grid. So even if the pieces are random shaped, as long as they're cut in the grid, like the puzzle is cut in the grid, that means like a ribbon grit cut puzzle, I think, if I understand that correctly. But for me, it's like the ribbon grit cut piece is like the standard 2 out and 2 in piece. And then when the entire puzzle is made out of them, that for me is like a ribbon grit cut puzzle. Because all the puzzles in Europe are grit cut, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, you can tell me your opinion because I'm not a puzzle expert. I don't know what the differences are. But yeah, this puzzle was basically random cuts. So I'm definitely not used to that, so it does confuse me. It made the puzzle quite a lot more difficult for me, but overall the quality was still good. The next puzzle brand is Janette. I'm sure I'm saying this wrong. I think they already corrected me, but I forgot. Oh dear. Anyway, I've just done one puzzle as a speed run for preparing to the Worlds, and I don't really have any specific emotions about this brand. It didn't shock me in any way. It was enjoyable to assemble. I didn't have problem with misfits. The cut was good, the image was good, so yeah, good brand. Up next is Pieces and Peace, and that's the 2 puzzles I've done, and both of them were for Euro Jigsaw. Well, no, they weren't. I'm lying. One of them was for Euro Jigsaw Jam, and the other one was sent to me by Michelle as a gift. So yeah, I've done both of them. I really enjoyed it. I think the images were beautiful, but again, nothing that would make it stand out and make it a great brand. Then we have Gibsons, which are the puzzles that I've done quite a few of them when I lived in London, but then I don't have access to them in Slovenia. So I got it when I went to the, what was it? The Newmarket Jigsaw Puzzle Festival, I think it was called. Yeah, so we did pairs category with Vicky, and I didn't particularly enjoy the puzzle because it was absolutely crazy busy. But you know, the image is not necessarily related to the brand, so the brand is still good regardless of how difficult the image was. Now we have a brand that is completely new on the market, and it's called Ole Puzzles. So this is the brand that Alejandro created with 2 of his friends, and they've got 2 puzzles out now. They're only available in Spain at the moment, but hopefully it's going to be available worldwide soon. So I got both puzzles gifted to me, so thank you so much for that, Alejandro and Lunetta. And I have to say that I absolutely loved puzzling those puzzles. The quality of the puzzle is good, the images were nice, the print was really good. One thing that I would mention is there was like really nice matte finish, but then with the darker colors, it had a bit of a shine to it. So I wouldn't say that that's a bad thing. If the entire puzzle was shiny or like glossy, that would be a problem. But the fact was it was only the darker colors, which made the puzzle even more special in a way, because it was like, it looked like it intentionally made some things stand out, if that makes sense. So I really liked it. It was like, even the touch, I didn't have any misfits. It was just fun to assemble, and also variety of the cuts. And the next one is a puzzle brand that we might already have covered, but it's like, apparently it's like a different thing, so I just decided to do it separately, but it's Truffle Prime. So I have the 9K puzzle at home, which is Truffle Prime, but I've obviously not assembled it yet because we're not there yet. But Victor brought the other Truffle Prime puzzle to me. Oh my god, the image was absolutely stunning. And honestly, there is a difference between Truffle and Truffle Prime. So I understand why people say it's like 2 different brands. I know there is a difference in the price as well, obviously, but the quality is Truffle Prime, really good quality. I find it just so funny that the bags they use, they're so loud. That's the one thing, is just such a mystery to me, like why use puzzle bags like that? There was one comment I once got, and it was like, I think Truffle made those puzzle bags so loud, so it stops me from opening a new bag at 1 AM. And I was like, that's actually a very valid point. But I don't know, that's something we would have to discuss with Truffle, like why are the bags so loud? Anyway, we've got a couple more brands to cover in this category, and then we can finally move on to the great brands. So the next brand is Jumbo. I've done quite a few of their puzzles, not this year, but like last year as well. So they've got the Jan van Haster, and this is Jumbo. They've got wash jigs. So those are the ones that, you know, I've been doing. And I actually really enjoy Jumbo. It's a great brand. It's just, it doesn't have the va-va-voo. Can you say that? Like that, something extra to make it a great brand. And then the last brand on this list is called Puzzle Twist. And again, I've really enjoyed the brand. One thing about this puzzle brand is the same thing that we already discussed earlier in the video, but it's got all random cut pieces, and that does make it a lot more difficult for me to assemble the puzzle because I'm just not used to it. Like, we do not have that in Slovenia. I'm not sure if it's like the entire Europe, if it's just Slovenia, but I'm just not used to it. I actually don't understand how people can use those puzzles at the competition and be really fast at them, because for me it's just, oof, my brain just goes like, ugh. But yeah, anyway, this is the end of the list of the good brands. There was a lot of brands. So now we can finally move on to the great brands. But before I do that, there is one puzzle that's actually like floating in between the two lists because I don't know where to put it. You know how I mentioned the good brands, like, oh, the puzzle didn't have anything special that would make it pop out, or like the wow factor. But then this puzzle had the wow factor, but without that wow factor, the quality of the puzzle, well, the brand is not really that great. So I'm not sure if it deserves to go on the great list, but then it still has something more than other puzzles on the good list. So that's gonna be Paper Blanks puzzle. We've done it for the live stream with Donna Louise. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like, it's got that shine. The puzzles, I think I've seen them in Slovenia. Really expensive. I think it's like 35 euros per 1,000 piece puzzle, which is quite expensive for us. But like I mentioned, the puzzle is insane. It's got that shine to it. It's got different textures. The entire puzzle, like when you're assembling it, is so special. I've never experienced that with any other puzzle. But if you take that away, the actual quality of the cardboard pieces and like the way it's done is not that amazing. So from that sense, I'm like, I really don't know where to place it. That's why I just decided I'm kind of gonna let it float in between, and you can, you know, make a decision what means to you more. From the point of assembly, it was quite difficult to assemble because the prongs weren't that specific, and I think we had a few misfits as well. So from that sense, it was on more difficult side. But then the end image, it was just so enjoyable. Like, especially if you want to have it displayed somewhere. Like, this is definitely a wall piece. But yeah, like I mentioned, from terms of puzzling, wasn't the easiest. Now let's move on to the great brands. So this list has not been changing a lot for the past 2 years because, you know, I think when the puzzle, well, when the brand reaches some sort of quality, it normally stays there. So these brands reach that quality. It's gonna have to happen something dramatic for them to drop onto the good list. But yeah, let's start with the first one. It's gonna be the Clementoni one. I've done quite a lot of their puzzles throughout the years. Very accessible brand in Slovenia, not too expensive, but the pieces are just a little bit thinner, and that's why they are the first on the list. The next brand is gonna have to be Blue Kazoo, which is the new brand I've tried. You can't get those puzzles in Slovenia, it's an American brand, but I absolutely loved it. You know, the fact even that it comes in a Ziploc bag, I'm like, yeah, please can everyone do that? Because it's just like every time I get a puzzle, I assemble it, I put it in a Ziploc bag, usually IKEA one, put it back in a box because it's just a way to prevent any lost pieces. And I think it's just easier to transport, and you know, you don't have to worry about anything. So if every puzzle brand would come with a Ziploc bag, that would be like, and there would be a lot less waste as well, because you know, every bag now ends up in the bin because people just chuck the pieces in the box. But if they had a Ziploc bag, it could just keep being reusable. So yeah, just an idea. And the next brand that I'm gonna have to put on the list, it's also a new brand. And it's called Enjoy Puzzle. Well, it's not a new brand on the market, it's a new brand for me. So Enjoy Puzzles, I've done their first puzzle this year. I avoided doing it because I thought it was going to be quite difficult. To be fair, it wasn't among the easiest puzzles, but I just absolutely loved it. The image is beautiful, the cut was nice, it was easy to know what goes where. I do have to say that if I remember correctly, there was more ribbon grid cut pieces than I would have wanted, if that makes sense. I would want more variety of the pieces, but the touch, the feel of the puzzle is so good. So I have it on the wall in the kitchen now, or the dining area, whatever. And sometimes I would walk past and I would just, you know, stroke the puzzle because it just feels so good. But anyway, let's move on to the next brand. The next brand is Ravensburger. And the reason why Ravensburger is not at the top is because it's got too much puzzle dust. That's all I'm gonna say. There's just too much of it. I think in the beginning when I mostly was, well, last year I think I watched the recap video. And I think when I did 86 puzzles, I think about over 50 of them were Ravensburger puzzles. This year I've done over 100 and 40 of them are Ravensburger. So I've done a lot more other puzzles, and I think I came to a point when I'm realizing that puzzle dust is not necessary in a puzzle because other brands don't have it. So why does Ravensburger have it, you know? So I think it is one of the things, like they're big brand, you know, they could make that extra step or something to just get rid of the puzzle dust. If other brands can do it and they're smaller brands, I don't know. Or maybe it's because it's mass production, maybe, you know, with other brands people remove it manually. I don't know what they do. But I think there could be a solution to that. Ravensburger. I'm tired of having blue fingers. But yeah, let's move on to the, well, I would say probably my favorite brand of the year. It's difficult to say because, you know, every brand has something special in it. But this brand, I think I've learned that overall I enjoy their puzzles most out of the cardboard puzzles, of course, because I can't compare it to other puzzles. But yeah, so it's the Schmidt. You know, you can see them in the background. I've got quite a few of them. I'm just working on the 6K puzzle, which is also a Schmidt puzzle. And it's just, I don't know, it's almost like Ravensburger minus the puzzle dust. I don't know. You know, quite specific prongs. It's really easy to know what goes together. The print is clear, the cut is clean. So, you know, nothing bad to say about the puzzle. Except, well, that might be contradicting myself now. But they changed something about the quality of their puzzles, and I've only done 2 of the new ones, like the brand new cut. It was the one we did for Euro Jigsaw Jam. I don't remember what the other one was. Maybe I just did the one. But I call it the new Schmidt cut, okay? And it's not even about the cut, like the puzzle holds together so well. The pieces are thicker as well. But you have to press a lot more in order for them to fit together. So in a sense, like, some people would definitely say that's better, you know, because it makes the puzzle stay together easier or whatever. But for me, it was just like, I kind of enjoyed the, you know, it's not so compact. Because I think with that puzzle, when it's finished, it almost, you can't even see where the cuts are because it's so all in one line. But with other puzzles, like, you can see because the pieces are kind of like curved on the edges, but I think with this one it's more like a straight cut. So yeah, I haven't decided how I feel about the new cut yet, but you know, majority of the puzzles that I've done are the old Schmidt cut anyway. And I don't even know if they're changing that for everything, maybe just for 500 piece puzzles. I genuinely do not know. So it's really difficult to judge that based on the one puzzle I've done. So yeah, the puzzle brand review of the year. So I had 33 puzzle brands this year. Last year, I think I had 28. So it's not that much more, but I've done quite a lot more puzzles this year than last year. As promised, I'm showing you the difference between the brand and the cut, but unfortunately I don't have all of them because some of the puzzles I've already given away and there was no way for me to take the pictures after because I forgot. But this is like a nice way to see the comparison between the brands. And obviously there are still puzzle brands that I haven't tried that in my, you know, puzzle wardrobe, puzzle closet, I don't know how to call it. I've still got a few brands that I haven't tried. I've got like Herring Puzzle, Ibu, Peace House, what else is there? Forgetting stuff now. Peace Corner, White Mountain. Yeah, so there are still a few brands that I haven't tried that hopefully I'm gonna manage to do in 2025. So I can review even more brands for you. And I have to say that the more I puzzle, the pickier I'm getting with the puzzles that I do, which I know I already mentioned in the beginning of the video. But I think it's just one of those things when it's like you learn what you like and what you don't like, and then you start to avoid things that you don't like. So hopefully a few years down the line, there's never gonna be any puzzle in the bad brands ever again, because I'm not gonna be puzzling those puzzles. But on the other hand, I kinda like to try new brands so I can review them for you. So it's always like, you know, trying something new. You always have to try something new. You never know, you might discover a brand that you absolutely love and you didn't even know it existed. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I would really appreciate if you can like and subscribe. And also just wanted to wish you Merry Christmas again and a Happy New Year. Bye. But anyway, before I begin, I just wanted to wish anyone who's celebrating a magic defier bus. Make it pop out like the wow factor. Oh, I've got the hair in my eye. They just not